Iran is burning. Over 3,900 protesters dead in the streets. The regime has shut down the internet. The world is watching. And President Trump just issued an ultimatum. Stop the killing or face American military strikes. Some say this is supporting freedom fighters against evil. Others say it's the road to another Middle East disaster. Today, Sophia and Liam debate the question that could reshape the region. Is Trump preventing a massacre or starting World War III? Here's what's happening. Since December 28th, Iran has been rocked by nationwide protests triggered by economic collapse, worsened by U.S. sanctions. What started as demonstrations against inflation and unemployment has become an uprising against the Islamic regime itself. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei blames the protesters, saying they're ruining their own streets to please Donald Trump. But independent reports confirm at least 3,900 protesters killed by security forces, though the real number could be far higher. Another 180 security personnel have also died. The regime has imposed a total internet blackout. International calls are blocked. And Trump, he's issued repeated threats, saying, quote, "If they do it, we're going to hit them very hard." He's openly calling for regime change, telling Politico it's time to look for new leadership in Iran. An American aircraft carrier is moving into position. So here's the question. Should America intervene?
Let me be very direct. I am absolutely heartbroken by what's happening to the Iranian people. 3,900 dead. Families mourning. Young people fighting for freedom. But Trump threatening military action? That's not going to help them. It's going to get them killed faster and drag us into another catastrophic war. We've seen this playbook before. Iraq 2003 will be greeted as liberators. Democracy will flourish. It'll be quick and easy. 20 years, trillions of dollars, and hundreds of thousands of dead later. What did we accomplish? A destabilized region, the rise of ISIS, and Iranian influence stronger than ever. We literally handed Iraq to Iran. And Afghanistan? 2 decades of war. We left with the Taliban back in power. All that sacrifice, and for what? Now Trump wants to do the same thing in Iran. A country of 89 million people with a sophisticated military and regional allies. This isn't Iraq or Afghanistan. This is a country that can actually fight back. Here's what really makes me furious. Trump is using these protesters as props. He doesn't care about Iranian democracy. He cares about looking tough. The protesters themselves aren't asking for American bombs. They're asking for their own government to change. When Trump threatens military action, he gives the regime exactly what they want. Proof that this is a foreign conspiracy, justification to crack down harder, and a nationalist rally around the flag moment.
Sophia, with all respect, your argument is basically, America should do nothing while people are massacred in the streets. That's not morality. That's cowardice dressed up as wisdom. The Iranian regime is evil, not problematic, not authoritarian, evil. They hang gay people from cranes. They stone women to death. They fund terrorist organizations across the Middle East. They chant death to America in their parliament. And right now, they're murdering thousands of their own citizens who are begging for freedom. You talk about Iraq and Afghanistan like they prove intervention never works. But what about South Korea, Germany, Japan? Countries where American intervention created lasting democracies. The problem wasn't intervention. It was how we intervened and whether we had the will to see it through. And let's talk about what doing nothing actually means. U.S. sanctions have crippled Iran's economy. That's already intervention. The difference is we're not standing with the protesters. We're just watching them die. That's not neutrality. That's complicity. Trump is showing strength where Biden showed weakness. The regime needs to know there are consequences for massacring civilians. When Trump says, we're going to hit them very hard, that's not warmongering. That's deterrence. It's the only language these thugs understand. You think Khamenei is going to stop killing people because we ask nicely?
So your solution is to bomb them? To kill more Iranians in the name of saving Iranians? That's insane.
Targeted strikes against regime military assets isn't bombing Iranians. It's disabling the killing machine. There's a difference.
A difference that means nothing when Iranian families are burying their dead from American missiles. This isn't a video game, Liam.
And watching 3,900 people get shot in the streets isn't acceptable either. At some point, you have to choose between bad options and worse options.
The protesters are choosing. They're telling us they don't want American military intervention. Why won't you listen to the actual people fighting for freedom?
Because they're operating under threat of death. Of course, they can't publicly welcome American support. The regime would use it against them.
You know what Trump's threats have actually accomplished? They've given the regime exactly what they needed. Khamenei goes on TV and says, "See? This is American interference. These protesters are foreign agents." And suddenly, Iranians who hate their government start questioning whether the protests are legitimate. Let's talk about what military intervention actually means. Iran has the largest ballistic missile arsenal in the Middle East. They have proxy forces in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. They can shut down the Strait of Hormuz and send global oil prices skyrocketing. They have cyber capabilities that could attack American infrastructure. And most importantly, they can accelerate their nuclear program with nothing left to lose. Trump's threats aren't deterring the regime, they're empowering them. Every time he tweets about regime change, the Revolutionary Guards get more funding, more authority, more justification to crush dissent. The protesters become American pawns instead of legitimate freedom fighters. And here's what really gets me. Trump has zero plan for what comes after. Okay, you overthrow the regime. Then what? Who fills the power vacuum? The last time we did this in the Middle East, we got ISIS. Iran is way more complicated than Iraq. You've got ethnic minorities, religious factions, tribal groups. It would make Syria look simple. Plus, you want to talk about South Korea and Japan? We occupied those countries for years with massive troop deployments. Are you ready to send 500,000 American soldiers to occupy Iran? Because that's what it would take.
Your entire argument is based on fear. Fear of what might go wrong instead of addressing what is going wrong right now. People are dying today. Not hypothetically, not maybe, today. And you're completely mischaracterizing what intervention means. Nobody's talking about a ground invasion or occupation. We're talking about strategic strikes on Revolutionary Guard facilities, weapons depots, command centers. You disable their ability to massacre civilians. That's not starting World War III. That's using American military superiority for good. Iran talks tough, but they know they can't win a war with the United States. Their military is decades behind ours. Yes, they have missiles, which we can intercept. Yes, they have proxies, which are already fighting us anyway. The Strait of Hormuz? We've been protecting it for decades. These are manageable risks. And this American intervention always fails narrative is historically ignorant. We've successfully conducted military operations in Kosovo, Libya initially, Panama, Grenada, places where we used force, achieved objectives, and didn't get stuck in forever wars. It can work when done right. You ask what comes after. Here's what: the Iranian people have a chance. Right now they have zero chance. The regime will kill every single protester if left unchecked. With American support, real support, not just tweets, the opposition has a fighting chance to build something better. And frankly, SOPHIA, your position is morally bankrupt. You're essentially saying, sorry Iranian people, we care more about avoiding risk than saving your lives. That's not principled, that's selfish.
That is not fair, and you know it. Caring about consequences isn't cowardice, it's responsibility. The Iranian people deserve better than having their revolution turned into America's war. And your limited strikes fantasy? That's how every war starts. Just a few missiles. Then they retaliate. Then we escalate. Then we're in a full conflict that nobody wanted but nobody can end. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, they all started with limited engagement. The Iranian people need diplomatic support, sanctions relief tied to reform, international pressure, secure communications tools, financial support for opposition, not cruise missiles. We can help without making it worse. But Trump doesn't want to do the hard work of actual diplomacy. He wants the TV moment of looking strong.
Diplomacy is a luxury people being shot in the streets don't have. Sometimes the right thing to do is difficult and dangerous. That's what leadership means.
So there you have it. Stand with protesters or risk escalation. Support freedom or avoid another Iraq. Use American power or exercise American restraint. The Iranian people continue to fight and die. Trump's threats continue. The region holds its breath. And America must decide what role it will play in what comes next. What do you think? Should America intervene militarily in Iran? Drop your verdict in the comments. And subscribe to Two Takes for more honest debates on the crises facing our world. Next video, Trump versus Federal Reserve, economic control or democratic crisis? Don't miss it.